one of the things that I love about Deadpool so much is what we're going to see here is this is Deadpool 2. So it's showing the Juggernaut. I have two scenes from Juggernaut. And one of the reasons why I love it so much is because they kept the enormity of the comic books. So like Juggernaut is freaking huge, right? He's like larger than life. The whole idea is he towers over everybody, just like mows through everything. And I feel like the original X-Men, when I think it was like X2 or X3 or whatever it was, when Fox had it in the beginning, they had Juggernaut, but he was just a jacked dude with, a helmet that didn't quite look right. Whereas in this, they did such a good job with showing uh, the enormity and the comic side of things. So that's one of the things that I love so much about Deadpool. But you can see this, right? The movie
Yeah.
screen. Okay, I'm gonna try to maximize. There we go. So you should still be able to see that. Let me bring this up a little bit more. I don't know what it looks like on your end. So, okay, so this is when we see Juggernaut.
Where are you?
Oh, I love that so much.
Russell. Russell, you're okay. Oh, thank God. Oh, my God. Juggernaut. Woo! I thought that was you. I should have worn my white pants. You probably get this a lot, but I am a huge fan. Uncanny X-Men 183, Thor 411, X-Men Unlimited 12. It has always been a dream of mine to see my face reflected in your helmet as you charge at me with murderous intent. I don't mean right now.
I'm gonna rip you in half now.
That is such a Juggernaut thing to say. Oh, 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 oh my God!
Okay, I'm gonna pause it there. I love this. I love this so much in so many ways. There's a few CGI things that I want to get your take on. But overall,
Yeah.
like this thing just caught my attention so much because, like I said, he's enormous. They keep the comic side of things, especially Ryan's performance as Deadpool, where he's like swinging his arms and and like it's just like it. To go back to the conversation we were having with Jurassic Park about like you get lost in what the process. So if there are any like little blips or something, I enjoy it so much that I didn't really notice any blips. And I don't want to pick it apart. If you want to pick it apart, go for it. But like I just love it so much. One of the things right here you see like he's got his hand still has the bullet hole through it, and he's got other bullet holes, and I mean he's dismembered here. I'm not going to show that, but um
Why not?
the well, I don't know. Is YouTube cool with that? I mean, maybe I guess that.
No, I don't think YouTube is
No.
cool with
Okay. Well,
that.
he's just he's touching his legs over here. But um so where is he grabs his this too, like the size of the hand, just like again, this is just the enormity of the comics, and they just freaking nailed it. And I love it so much. This was quintessential Deadpool and like the whole process of the making of the movie and staying true to the character and everything. And I love it. Like I love this. But so I do have another scene that I have a couple things I want to get your take on from the like rotoscoping
Mhm.
perspective, because it seems like it would be challenging. But do you have any thoughts on this particular scene that we just watched? Or
No, I mean, I believe Frame Store is the headliner here. At least I think Frame Store is the one that did Juggernaut. I could be mistaken here. I have to look it up. But Frame Store if you guys don't know, is a really big VFX house in the industry. They're actually really well known because they do a good job of hiring in new artists, new students. So like they always have internships and apprenticeship programs. Anyways, but I think one of the big things here is that Juggernaut was brought back into the Marvel universe through Sony. I mean, this isn't actually the MCU per se yet; it is now. But they brought Juggernaut in, and this was a fan favorite. And of course, Juggernaut being kind of a mess from X-Men 3.
yeah,
Like a lot of people were pretty upset about that. But yeah, this is a CG character, and I mean, great frame to pause on. I mean, the lighting is just so good. I mean, this scene right here is just so well done. Obviously, this is a CG double for Ryan Reynolds uh in this. Like I said, I think Frame Store did Juggernaut, but I know Blur Studios is still the major studio that worked on this. And in fact, Method Studios worked on this as well too. I just pulled it up and did a Google search. Method did this, worked on this as well. Um, Weta worked on this as well. Yeah, there's just a lot of studios that worked on this. So I'm not entirely sure who exactly did this one. Let me see here. Framestore is also for shots featuring Colossus and Juggernaut. So I think Framestore was on this one. Uh, Five main sequences: the big fight between Colossus and Juggernaut, capable of the Pascal, breaking news, mutant accident. So yeah, I mean, it's just the complexity of these shots too. What I love about movies now is that you have so many different visual effects houses that are working on these shots, so they can really spend time working on these specific shots, make it look really good. This looks amazing. Look at the destruction around him. I think this is a set piece with photography, and he is actually matted in with CG. Very little rotoscope needed. I think the next shot you said has rotoscope,
I
or you
I,
believe
I
has
think
rotoscope.
so, and there's some complexity to the shot, and I'll show it to you. It's when they go to the school, but
Hmm.
this is about the only place, this scene when he's talking. This is about the only place where I felt like, I don't want to say it fell apart, but it, like, you can kind of notice a little bit when he's talking that the shadows are a little bit off. I mean,
Yeah, let's take a look.
so I'll do that again because that was kind of fast. So I got it muted, but it's it just feels like the mouth is maybe off a little bit.
Don't mean right now.
I'm gonna rip you in half.
Like, it actually,
Oh yeah.
when you pause it, it doesn't look bad, but it's during the movement. Maybe it's because, I know with CGI lips, it's difficult to get things right. And
Mhm.
I know when Henry Cavill had to be Superman, and, like, they had to, like, digitally take off the mustache. That's a problem. I know that one of the things that they loved about Smeagol so much in Lord of the Rings, the original ones, was like they got his lip tension really well, and like that was really hard to do. So, um, yeah, it's just
Well, it goes back to what we talked about last week. It's, there's a lot more. There's editing, lighting, and pacing, and just direction of the eyes that go into a lot of these shots. No, there's no perfect VFX out there.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm noticing it too. Like there's a little bit of what we call lip flap.
yeah.
It's very common with CG animation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but honestly, and the only reason why I think I notice it as much is because it's really the only noticeable thing. And at least for me, my eyes are drawn to his lips because he's talking. And I think from like a personal, like when people are talking, we have a tendency to sometimes look at their mouth as they're talking. But I think maybe that's the only reason. But it wasn't bad. Like, it's not something to like tear apart. Um, but I love, like, his helmet is so like scratched up, his hands, like the dirt underneath his nails and around, like they got that so well. So yeah, anyway, I love this movie. So yeah, I will go on to the next clip unless you had something else that you wanted to talk about there.
No, this is perfect. This is good.
Okay. This one, maximize that guy. Okay. So I'll play this scene and then I'll talk about it. So one of the things that I'm curious of your take on is when we see Juggernaut walking across the screen, he crosses a chain link fence and then he has a pole. Now the pole would be a lot easier to rotoscope around, but the chain link fence I think would be really tough. But I'm curious
Mhm.
on your thoughts, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit play here.
Beat it, midget.
Hey, big guy, the sun's getting real low. Ah, shit, fuck.
So sorry, that was the wrong part of the clip, but that also has the Wilhelm screen, which is why I put it in. Um, so it's actually a little earlier. Give me just a sec. It's when they first see him coming across. It's probably like around here. Oh, it's going to be right in the beginning.
So you wear that helmet because your brother tries to read your mind?
Yeah, but he's in a wheelchair, so even Steven.
Someone's coming. It's Russell, sir.
So like you see right in the beginning, this chain link fence, and then he goes past this pole, and then you have this chain link fence, and they rise over all that. Well, not actually fully over it because half his body is still obstructed by it. But like, wouldn't that be incredibly difficult? Or maybe is this fence going to be a CGI, or like, how would that work?
Okay. So there's a couple things that could be done here. This fence could likely be CGI. Um, you can. There are tricks and techniques to do to roto out the fence. Though, like the fence could be real. I'm hard pressed to believe that the cinematographer and the DP were on set and were like, "Hey, let's go ahead and just shoot through this fence." They probably added this in post. If you back up a little bit, or maybe if you send me the link, actually, here we go. It's X Force
Here, I'll
versus
send it in the.
Juggernaut.
Can you get it in? Let's see. Oh, actually, there's a private chat in the back end of.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. I'll just send it there. That might be. I don't know if that's actually the right timestamp. You might have to back it up, but I'm at 6 seconds.
yeah. So I'm looking at it right now. You know what? I actually, that could be real. That could be real, actually. I'd be curious to see how they actually did it, or it could be photo and they put it in as well. It does seem to be holding together pretty well, though. But again, I'm
Brother
focusing on it
tries to
now. When I watched this movie live, I didn't really care that much about it.
Yeah, I didn't. This is one of those things where I really almost hardly ever try to see um, the CGI of movies because I don't want it to be ruined for me. But
Yeah,
it's just especially because of our conversation the other day. This is so like they keep blocking him. You know, they keep having to roto him out of the. I mean, this is a big object, so this would be a lot easier than like a chain link fence. But it's like they're just having fun with it. But then again, at the same time, maybe they don't have to create the whole model as clearly if they're just going to keep blocking it. I don't know. But like, look, I mean, he's right here too. Like they treated this so well. I don't even know how much of the CG of the mask is CGI. I know that with Deadpool, like the eyes and Spider-Man, the eyes obviously that's all CGI. But um anyway, yeah. So
yeah.
that was it. Those are the only clips that I wanted to show, and I wanted to get your hot take on that stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, that the cool thing about Deadpool is there is a lot of CG characters in there. I mean, the whole idea of doing Deadpool 1 was a passion project by Tim Miller, who is at the time he hadn't really done any feature films with Blur Studios, and he really wanted to do Deadpool being one of his favorite characters. So we got Deadpool 1 out of that, and a lot of it was because it was CG. And if you remember the first Deadpool, there's a lot of shots in there where it's like rubber band Deadpool,
yeah,
like he doesn't actually look, and it works. And you see the same thing here too in this whole sequence. You see him being flung around, thrown through some spikes, and then Colossus is there. But for the most part, yeah, the action sequences hold up. I do think it is interesting that they do a good job in this movie of integrating their CG characters. So you see Juggernaut walking behind assets, not just in front of the plate. It makes you believe that he's part of the plate. That's just very directorial. I'm going through some of these shots though right now, and there are some shots here that just don't hold up. In my knee jerk reaction in my eyes, specifically with Juggernaut, and I think a lot of that is because of the scale of the character.
yeah,
It is so hard. I mean, we were talking about the T-Rex last week. It is so hard to get a bigger, like a giant. He's what 10 feet tall, and to make him look believable in these action sequences. Um, but I think they do a good job because they push in tight. But when they go widescreen and you see him like running, it's a little
yeah.
weird.
There
Um,
at 252 where he's got Deadpool and he's swinging him around. It looks like
yeah,
Deadpool is on a green screen. It's got that kind of
yeah,
effect, but that's like a second or maybe 2 seconds where that happens.
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And I'm a little bit further ahead right now. So if you keep going, you're about to see a scene of him running. Right there, you just passed it actually. So right there, that shot where he's landing on the seesaw
Oh,
is just it's a little weird.
oh, right there. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's in a green screen there, and yeah. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It holds up though. And one of the cool things is when you're editing action sequences, you can get away with a lot more because the camera's moving a lot. And so the audience doesn't have a lot of time to sit there and look at what they're actually looking at. Same thing, like with the dinosaur shot last week. Like that's the exact same
Yeah.
concept that you're having right there.
Well, the
Yeah.
other thing too, in theaters, you have a higher quality image than what's especially on streaming right now. Um,
Yeah.
and like that's just it's such an important thing to remember too. Like when you see stuff in theaters, it looks so much better than it ever will on TV. I think Blu-ray will give you the highest quality to keep, but it's still not going to be the same quality to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.